Hi, in this demo we're going to do everything that we did in the first demo with our Hello iPhone application, except this time we're going to do it all from scratch with an empty application template. So let's go ahead and start. Create a new Xcode project, of course, and then when the interface comes up, instead of selecting the single view application as we did before, we're going to select empty application, and this is going to force us to create a view controller and create a view and to hook everything up in the app delegate so that the app delegate, which is really the delegate class for the application, is forced to create the view controller. The view controller gets its UI view from the zip file and will be off and running then. So there's a little bit more work we have to do up front. Now I'm going to call this project, because we're using the empty template, I'm going to call it Hello Empty. And again, everything else is the same. It's an iPhone with no core data or no unit tests, and automatic reference counting is being used. Now we click on Next. And again, I'll save this in Chapter 2 video and create. And there we go. Now this time, instead of getting a view controller and a zip file, all we have here is our app delegate file. So we're going to first start by right-clicking here and creating a new file. And this is going to be, under Cocoa Touch, it's going to be an Objective-C class. And we click on Next. And what is it a subclass of? Well, it's going to be a subclass of UI View Controller. And by default, I hit enter too quickly, by default that's called View Controller, and that's just fine. Now I could make a zib for the user interface here, but I'm going to make my own zib. So we'll click on Next, and then again it'll tell me where it wants to save it by default, and that's fine, Hello Empty. And now I have my View Controller class, my header file, and my implementation file. And now again, I'm going to click here and get a new file. And this time, under User Interface, I'm going to select a zib with a view. I could select an empty zib, but this way I get the view as part of it. So now if I click on Next, it says, what device family would you like? It's iPhone. Click on Next. And now it's saying, save as what? I'm just going to allow it to save it as view in Hello Empty, and I'll click on Create. So now there's still some work we have to do, but we can start by just clicking on this view and then the attributes. I'll just use that color I used before, a nice blue color, background color. And then the next thing I must do is in Files Owner. Right now, Files Owner, if I look at the Identity Inspector, Files Owner reads NSObject. Well, this is wrong. I want Files Owner to be the view controller. The owner of the view is the controller. So I want Files Owner to be that view controller. And I can either click here and scroll down this list all the way down to View Controller. Click that. Or I could start typing it and it would pop up in the list. But now this is right. So we'll save this, and then there's one other thing I need to do. I need to right-click on Files Owner because it doesn't yet know what this view is wired to. So view is an outlet. It belongs to View Controller. What is View Controller's view? The view. So we'll release that, and now the view outlet is wired to this view. So now, at this point, are we ready to start doing anything? No, not really. The next thing we need to do is in App Delegate, we need to tell App Delegate to make that view controller the Windows root view controller. So there's a couple ways to import this file, but I'm going to import it because I like to import in the header files when possible. So I'm going to go ahead and import view controller right here. And then I'm going to make a property of that view controller. So this is going to be property and it's a top-level view controller. It's not a sub-view controller of some other view controller, so this is going to be strong and non-atomic. And then, what is it? Well, it's an object of type view controller. So, view controller, and it's a pointer. I'll just call it lowercase view controller. Now, in the M file, in the implementation, we already have the window. That's the full size of the screen. So now I'm going to initialize or instantiate my view controller. So that is self.viewController is equal to, now we need to allocate it and initialize it. And we're going to initialize it with a nib name and a bundle. But the first thing we're going to do is say viewController alloc. We have made a new viewController memory piece now. And now I'm going to say init and with nib name and bundle. So that's the one I'm looking for. The nib name is the name of the zib file as a string. So this is going to be view, not view.zib, just view. And then the bundle, we can say nil because it's this bundle. And there we go. Now, are we done? We're still not done. What remains to be done is that the Windows root view controller property must be set to this view controller. So self.window.root view controller, and it has a property called root view controller, and that needs to be equal to self.view controller. And now we're done with that. So at this point, if we ran the application, we would see our beautiful sky blue view. It's hard to say. Try that. Our beautiful sky blue view here, but nothing would be on it. But at this point, we have essentially what we had when we started developing the Hello iPhone app in the last demo. So now I'm going to open the sidebar, drag my label, make it a little bit bigger, center it, and then use center justification on the label. I'll get rid of the label's text, enter, and then I'm going to drag a rounded rect button underneath that label someplace, and I can see where my label is with the hand cursor. And then again, I'm just going to say hello. Too many L's, right? Let's see. Here we go. And now I'll save my nib file. And then again, should be review. I need a property for my outlet and a property for my action. So property, we know the outlet should be weak, so non-atomic and weak. And it is an IB outlet because it needs to be for interface builder. That's what the IB stands for. And then UI label, its pointer, and again we'll call it display. And then I need an action method. So this is IB action. And the selector, again, we'll call it button touched. And instead of just a vanilla ID, any object, I want to make it an object of type UI button. And it's a pointer. And then, of course, I need the semicolon here at the end. So now let's go into the implementation. We'll copy that. And in the implementation, of course, we want to synthesize our property. So at synthesize display, and then paste curly braces, and then it's just going to be self.display.text equals in a string hello iPhone. And then we'll save that, and then once again, lest we forget, we'll go out here to Files Owner, right click it, and then drag the display to the label. We'll drag to button touched to say hello, touch up inside. We'll close this, and we'll run this application, and we should get the same result we got before. The only difference is we started from virtually nothing, and we set up the view controller in the app delegate. We made files owner be the view controller class. We made files owner's view into the view that we created by getting a new nib file with a view in it. And now when we click say hello, everything works just as it did before. Thank you.